only winning move is to not play, to not engage the globalists in a discussion of their false paradigm. They set the rules. They set up a cultural construct that breaks the social contract, and he is anti-human, eugenics-based, slavery-based, technocracy-based throughout its entire system. And that's the big secret. The globalists got the best and brightest to join them in the last 60, 70 years in the West to construct the planetary world government they claimed would be a utopia to empower humanity. But in the last decade, they've gone public and been very arrogant that the decision's been made to wipe out humanity and merge with machines and become gods. An extreme power trip. And that some nightmare battle of the gods scenario has to take place first before the elite can transcend. There's a big article I mentioned yesterday out of the New Yorker magazine, and it ties in with several other big reports we're going to be getting to. One out of Bloomberg, where AI scientists gather to plot doomsday scenarios and solutions as the so-called elites themselves scurry away and begin living generally more than half the year already out of Europe, out of the United States, out of Australia, out of Asia. And again, places like Kauai, Hawaii, and of course, Tasmania, off the coast of Australia, and of course, New Zealand. I told people about this a long time ago. Now it's in Bloomberg. Yesterday, it's in New Yorker magazine. They are throwing it in your face. It's very, very serious. They've been preparing a worldwide economic collapse and then organized crises they believe would bring them absolute control over the nation states and individuals. They will then accelerate even more crises in the next wave, which will be used to reduce population even more. I've always said they'll have a primer bioweapon that kills 10 to 50 million people. Gates came out last week and said it'll be about 30 million in the next pandemic, that will then train us to all live under a medical tyranny. They've now announced a world government to be run to, quote, counter the medical tyranny they're rolling out. And then they will continue to just tighten the noose as each successive crisis becomes more intense and larger. And then the mega deaths will go from the millions into the billions. A mega death is 1 million or larger. What is a billion deaths? We should search that term. I don't know. What is the term for a billion deaths?
Death.
Gigadeath. So you got mega death, you've got gigadeath. So they kill 7 million of us. Now Ted Turner says he only wants to kill 80%. So that means there'd be hundreds of millions left, which I think is quite gracious of him. And of course, as the culling takes place in the next few decades, you'll be able to grovel to them properly and show them that you've been subservient. Perhaps you'll be allowed to, live or be given some of the cures for the diseases they've been dumping out and pouring out upon us. By the way, their whole program is in great crisis. It's being blocked. Across the world, people in their own system are aware of the plan, and they're speaking out against it and saying no. The globalist response has been to just be more public about their plan and kind of publicly inoculate everyone psychologically to hide it in plain view and go, okay, well, humans are ugly and fallen and bad. There are too many of us. So if you don't merge the machines, we'll just step on you. You'll be obsolete. Elon Musk 2 weeks ago. And they've all made the same statement. Ray Kurzweil, all of them. All of them. All of them. Bill Joy, the list goes on and on. Bill Gates, all of them. David Rockefeller. And look at the Clintons. Look at their attitude towards humanity. A total elitism, a hardness, a selfishness, a hate to steal $2 billion from the Haitians, give them less than 4% of the money raised, keep it for yourself, and be praised as being liberal. It's like Bono. He was caught giving less than 1% to African aid when he was raising billions a year for it. So he upped it to 1.8. 1.8. Imagine you run a charity for starving kids and you keep 98.2%. But as long as you kind of wear a scarf around your neck and kind of walk like you're liberal and non-threatening and act beta and wear, you know, red tinted sunglasses and talk real soft and get awards, then it's okay. But they're raving snakes. They are ravenous wolves. They are just foaming at the mouth with absolutely total greed and a satanic spirit towards humanity. Completely and absolutely turned over to it. And their actions are pure hate. So they tell us that speak out against them with anger that we're the hateful ones. No, we're the people who are informed and who are horrified to know we're right, to have stacks of documents, you know, rooms of documents, rooms of videotape, rooms of books with all of you bragging to yourselves how beautiful and powerful and perfect you are, and how profane and ugly and fallen we are, and how you can't wait to live in a utopia of the Elysium fields once we've all been exterminated. And in comes Donald Trump that believes in workers, that believes in people, and says there is advanced technology that has not been rolled out to the public. We're going to start curing cancer, curing disease, curing death. We're going to walk on foreign planets. We're going to break the secrets of the universe. He already knew before as a billionaire and a smart guy dialed in. Plus, he at least write books about this. That there's a breakaway civilization now in its middle stages. I mean, they're far along here. But once they break away, it's going to be really hard to deal with them. They know there's a coming war between the breakaway civilization and us. Not just left here on Earth. That's a metaphor, the movie Elysium. Forget first world, old world, third world. Forget those fights. This is globalists playing us all off against each other with high-tech, highly controlled, literal bubble cities they're already announcing and designing and rolling out. Peter Thiel, you name it. Floating cities to get away from us. Underground mountain redoubts. And corporate city-states that are tax-exempt above the law, where all the wealth is piled up and kept, where they announce that they're exempt from the vassal governments they've set up for 99% of the Earth's mass, 99% of the Earth's surface, which oppress us, ship the resources, the ideas, the culture, the money, but it's all digital, to them in their central combines. And I said 20 years ago they're going to move back to nation states. I could see the model, or city-states, because I could understand what feudalism already was. So they said they wanted feudalism. Well, I said that's the city-state. It's a de-evolution for us, an advanced, accelerated evolution for them. And I don't mean that in the sense of evolution came from a monkey fish frog or a man bear pig. I mean evolution of technology, automobiles, genetic engineering, you know, advancement. And this is their plan. And imagine reading books where they were admitting this 20 years ago and wanting to warn people. And now it's not just academic books. It is public. It is not just in the pop culture. It is not just in the popular science. It is in the movies and the culture, and they are just readying us to adapt and to accept the new reality, because that's the secret that the social engineers know about humans. If you're not conscious of the fact that you're artificially having your environment manipulated and that you're artificially being bent and twisted in a different direction, you will automatically begin to serve that and begin to love that, and you will adapt into the new, smaller, cramped, oppressive system that you've been put into. But if you demand more from yourself and from your neighbors and from your culture and from your children and from your spouse and from your institutions, and you want to rise humanity in a real direction, then, no, it's fine, it's fine. I was going to tell them to skip the break, but I'm not going to now because I want to go to some special reports, but we'll go ahead and skip it. It's just what you're hearing is Not my opinion, not baloney, not garbage, but the reality of what they're building and what they've created. And I'm going to explain it after I play this report from the president, his weekly address. And then I'm going to get into the sad situation with Senator Sessions now, Attorney General Sessions, and just how ridiculous all this is and where this is going next and how the Republican establishment with the Democrats and the media are all ganged up as a trifecta to try to block Trump and his trifecta of the executive, the legislative, the judicial, and the American people. And so that's really the battle lines. And I should just talk about what's really happened here and then also the cost.
Talk show host is Alex Jones. He's a conspiracy theorist.
Radio talk show host Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
Radio talk show host and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
Deeply, I think, racist.
I just got called racist by MSNBC.
I don't want that man to have a gun.
1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
The Alex Jones Show. Watch the free stream live at Infowars.com/show.